Welcome everyone back to another video on the channel. Today we're back with another St Kilda video, and this is a topic that I'm sure is on the mouths of basically all Saints fans, and that is the youngsters who are ready to thrive at St Kilda in 2024. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm sure all of you are aware that preseason began for the first to fourth year players a few weeks ago. I'm not sure when I'm uploading this video, but at the time of recording it was a couple weeks ago. We saw the time trial, and that was dominated by our under 22 group. So a lot of our youngsters have gone to work over the off season and come back in exceptional shape. And not only those top three in the time trial, but several others are quite impressing across the squad, according to training reports. So there's a lot to get excited about in 2024. So basically this video is just going to be going over a few of those players who I think are a very good chance to really stamp themselves as valuable players in the competition. So we'll start with the first and most prominent one at the moment, and I think that's Marcus Windhager. He came second in the time trial. He's been given the responsibility to wear number 2, and that's just a testament to his commitment to the team, his hard work, and to wear number 2 in honour of Danny Frawley. I'm sure Windy will take this opportunity with both hands and really get to work and try to improve his game. Not only is he extremely fit, he's also come back. I think he's gone through a massive bulk in this off-season. He's got a lot of... His arms are just looking massive, his shoulders looking really wide. So it's clear that he's gone through a lot of work in this off-season, really challenged his body to become extremely strong and also fit at the same time. So he's really put that work in, and I'm sure that in the coming year he's going to really stamp himself. We saw in his first season that he had the ability to really affect games with his ability to tag. We saw that's how Jack Steele started his career. But now in his second year, had a really good start with the preseason, but then got impacted by a mixture of injury and form issues because he was played out of position. So I think in his third year, if he can really stamp himself in one position, he's ready to thrive. The next player is another really prominent player in this year's preseason, and that's Matias Filipo. So he arrived at the club via pick 10 in the national draft last year, or in 2022. The leading games holder from that draft class, and he really proved himself in that forward line as a kind of pressure forward. But I think he's set for bigger things in year 2. He's come third in the time trial, so his aerobic capacity was a real focus for him, not only for this preseason but also last year. We saw him come into the club and he mentioned the fact that he was really trying to work on his fitness. So to come third in the time trial across the entire squad just shows how much he's really committed to improving that side of his craft, and I'm sure he's going to apply that sort of commitment to all the other parts of his game. And through preseason footage and reports, he's really improved not only in body size and capacity, but just his skills as well. Through his draft year, I think there was a bit of question marks over his kicking, but his kicking in preseason so far has just looked exceptional. Kind of just like Marcus Bontempelli, you just see him hitting targets everywhere, able to sell candy as well. Have that composure and play with that real confidence that we know he possesses. So to have his kicking being a lot better than people initially thought in his draft year is really exciting, because now you just really can't see many weaknesses in his game. Like, he's just going to keep developing every aspect of his game, and eventually, hopefully, we can see him become an absolute superstar for our club. The next player I want to talk about isn't really that young of a player, but he definitely has a lot of years ahead of him in his career, and that's one of our new recruits, Paddy Dow. So was really kind of starved of opportunity at the Blues, was kind of outcasted because of how deep their midfield was. So to come across as a 24, 25-year-old to the Saints, where he should be getting a look into a full-time midfield role for the entire year in 2024, I think this is the year he can really stamp himself as a top midfielder of the comp, and why he was selected at pick 3 in his draft year. His skills are looking really good. So again, similar to Filipo, like, kicking wasn't really a strength of Dow's at Carlton. It was kind of a weakness, to be honest. Like, he kind of lacked composure and wasn't really able to execute his kicking as best as probably the Blues coaches wanted him to. But in pre-season, a lot of reports have said that Paddy Dow's kicking has just been exceptional, and he's hitting targets left, right and centre. He's not missing many, and I don't know if that's just him, like, pre-season kind of lacking a bit of pressure. To see him performing well with his skills is already an improvement on his time at Carlton, and hopefully he can translate that into game time as well. He's going to really provide a nice spark to our midfield, and hopefully utilise that burst that we're also seeing throughout preseason. That was the given for Dow, that he was going to provide a bit of speed and burst through our midfield. We're seeing that a lot, but yeah, just the skills, improved skills, are really topping it off for him. So hopefully he brings that into match time throughout 2024. So we'll get to some proper real rookies now who are in their first or second year. The first being Ollie Hotton. I'm really excited for this kid. He had a really interrupted first year where his back injury just kept him out of action for the first half of the year, but he came back in the second half. Clearly looked like he had just come back from injury because he lacked fitness. He did have a 27 disposal game through the midfield in the VFL, so he did really show off what he was able to do with kind of limited fitness. Through this preseason, he's bulked up. Very noticeably, his arms are looking bigger. His figure in general is looking a lot bigger. Hasn't been fully training though, which is a bit of an issue, but I'm expecting him to be back after Christmas. I don't think his injury is too severe, maybe just still managing that back and a bit of workload management. But yeah, an injury-free season. Probably will see him debut as kind of like a half forward or a small forward. I don't think he'll crack our midfield yet in year 2 of his career, but I think that will definitely be his long-term goal. But yeah, I think we'll definitely see him at some stage if he stays fit. Now we'll move on to the next player. So second last player I want to talk about, and that's Darcy Wilson. So this guy is really excited. A lot of Saints fans. He's come first in the time trial across the squad. So very impressive start to his career in Saints colours. He's basically impressing in every way. Not only is he really fit, but he's also skillful, and he's athletic and is impactful with his disposal. He's able to, step around opponents, hit targets, both by hand and by foot. So there's really not much to not be excited about with Darcy Wilson. I think the main issue is just the maturity of his body. He's still a pretty lean and skinny kid, as you'd expect with an 18-year-old in his first year. But we did see that with Nazai Wanganeen-Milera in his debut year. There were a few doubts over whether he'd play round 1, etc. Early in the season. I personally thought that he'd probably spend the first half of his debut year just in the gym building up his body, but he did prove me wrong, and I'm sure several other Saints fans wrong, that you can really make an impact in your debut year even if you don't really have that maturity in your body yet. We saw what Ollie Hotton did at Carlton. Very skinny kid, but with his aerobic capacity, like, you can really just make a really strong impact, even if your body isn't as big as the rest of your opponents and teammates. So I think Darcy Wilson can make a pretty significant impact, similar to Ollie Hotton's, whether that be on the wing, half forward, as a small forward. Remains to be seen. He could easily take Filipo's role in that forward pocket, half forward kind of area, and let Filipo play a bit higher up the ground. Or he could play on the wing, replace D-Mac in that best 22. But I think Henry Wood Hill is already enough as those, endurance beasts. So not really sure where Wilson will fit into the side, but I'm definitely expecting him to play early in the season, if not round 1. So definitely looking forward to seeing him in action in 2024. Finally, this is a really important one for our team. James Vaness, fullback. He's looking extremely big, bulked up. His arms are looking huge by preseason photos. I'm sure many of you saw St Kilda's Instagram socials post that he was in the gym. His arms are looking massive, and there were reports him walking alongside Jack Hayes. He absolutely towered over Hayes. So he's a big kid, and the fullback position in our starting 23 is probably the most vulnerable position. We don't really have a clear best fullback yet. We have Wilkie and Battle as those second and third tools, but our number one defender still, is a bit remains to be seen. So hopefully Vaness, I'm sure he can really try to thrive in 2024. He's already built up his body. Now it's just about the craft and his aerobic fitness. We saw with Cordy, he didn't really do well in last year's preseason. He was kind of like at the back of the pack every running drill. He just looked really unfit. But when it came to game day, he really was able to impact quite a bit. So I'm sure, like with a fullback, you don't really have to do as much running as a midfielder would or a half forward winger. So I don't think aerobic capacity needs to be built up that much, but I still do think he needs a little bit of work on it. Yeah, he's definitely got that body maturity, and I'm sure he's going to really put his hand up for that fullback position. I think we'll really get a good gauge of where he's at in preseason games. Hopefully he can play a few quarters and show off what he can do on a really competent full forward. So yeah, looking forward to preseason and then seeing what Vaness can really do in 2024. So those are the main players I'm looking at when it comes to our youngsters really breaking through in 2024. I've got a few others who are ones to watch. Matthew Allison came top 5 in our time trial. We all know he's a really good runner, but it's just up to his skills and his ability to accumulate the ball, which are the main issues regarding him. And there were track watchers who were talking about how it looked like Allison had really improved his skills. So that's really pleasing to hear. Now we're just hoping that he's really improving his accumulation as well. I think he's going to settle on the wing. That aerobic capacity is too good to pass up, especially standing at 194, 195 centimeters. I think he can really replace Mason Wood in the long term as that winger, tall winger who can get back and defend as a 7th defender. So yeah, Allison, I'm really looking forward to seeing him progress over the season next year. Hopefully he stays fit, because with a full preseason, who knows what he can do. His career is on the line. He's really seems like he's kind of committed himself a little bit more. So looking forward to seeing what that can produce. Isaac Keeler is next. So he's looking bigger. Upper body is looking a lot stronger. We all know he's got that massive leap on him. And his agility as well. His athleticism as a big man, 199 centimeters, something like that. I think he's a very unique type of player, and I think that could really help him in trying to break through in 2024. I wouldn't say I'm expecting him to debut in 2024, but I'm sure a late season debut could be on the cards. We've got quite a few key forwards ahead of him at the moment, with King, Membry, Hayes, Sharman, Caminiti as well. But yeah, who knows, like Keeler with those sorts of attributes and a bit of a stronger upper body, he could easily crack through and really provide a point of difference if, the odds are in his favour. I think the main players to focus on are the first 6 that I spoke about in detail. They've all shown significant improvement over this preseason, whether it be physically or, mentally and by skill as well. So a lot to look forward to regarding our youth in 2024. So I'll leave the video there. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Comment who you are most excited to watch from the Saints team in 2024. There's a lot of youngsters and a lot of promise in this team for 2024. So, it's to the point where I wouldn't even mind if we kind of miss finals, but see a lot of development in these kids, because this group is going to take us forward over the next decade, and we're really going to see a lot of these boys thrive. So yeah, really exciting times for the Saints. So yeah, leave your comments, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.